Good morning, and thank you for being here. UAB returns home to Protective Stadium to host Memphis in the renewed rivalry of the Battle for the Bones. So with that, I will turn over to Coach Dilfer.
Well, I guarantee I'm the most enthusiastic 2-5 coach in America. I'm really excited about the battle ahead of us. I'm excited about this group of young men. I'm excited about our coaches. When I talked to them yesterday, my theme was we get to do this. We have the opportunity to get to come to work in a building where we all love each other and respect each other and working for the same goals. It's not going our way right now, but that's a microcosm of life. How many of you have had life go the way you want it to go all the time? I know I haven't, and I think football is a great vehicle to help them get through these times in football so that when they go through these times in life, they're more prepared to handle them well. I think we'll handle this week really well. It's a rivalry week. A unique rivalry, one that we're super excited to be a part of, bring back since 2012. And with that, I'll answer your questions.
Speaking of the rivalry week, this is a rivalry that hadn't played for in a while, so probably not a whole lot of people, probably nobody in the building is really, been part of this rivalry. Kind of how weird is that to have a rivalry game when nobody in the building really knows about it?
Yeah, it came up last night after practice. Was that exact thing? It's like, hey guys, it's a rivalry week, but let's educate each other on what it means. And for a while, it was a really good one. It didn't end well for the Blazers. So I'm kind of sticking on that theme. Is they hold this trophy, and it's our job to get it back. And I think as the week goes on, a lot like I did with Smile Mile, a lot like I did with Children's Harbor, was instead of front loading all the information, dose it throughout the week. So by the end of the week, they have a really good grasp on the magnitude of it.
Had a few guys who weren't able to, make it into the game this past week. Jacobs, Tyreek Howard, those guys. Just how are they looking, near the end of the last week versus to where you think they can be this week?
Yeah, we're banged up, obviously, but I'm going to wait till tomorrow before I make any comments on injuries, just because I want to see how today goes. Today's their day off, big rehab day. Guys that may be back, we'll find out. Guys that may not be back, we'll have clarity on that. So I'll let you know more after practice tomorrow.
On Saturday with the job that Skoll did, I mean, obviously you look for positives out of it. Just kind of talk a little bit about his last 2 weeks and just, where he's come from.
Yeah. Well, I think number one, he's gotten healthier. He's such a tough guy. He came back from the spring injury, was trying to be himself, but, it takes time. And I'll compliment Henley, Brigham, came up with a different practice plan for him the last couple weeks that he proposed, and I went with, and I think it's been really good for him. Now it takes a person with professional habits to take this practice plan. You have to be very locked in mentally if you're not getting the physical reps. And to Skoll's credit, he does a great job, not a good job, a great job with mental preparation, and it showed up by allowing his body to rest more during the week, so he's fresher on Saturdays, and he hasn't missed a beat from a scheme standpoint, excuse me, because he's so locked in when he's not getting the physical reps.
Coach, defensively, how would you grade the guys so far at this point in the season, and what's something that you guys are working on this week?
I think overall we have played way below our standard defensively. Our numbers prove that. The amount of points we've given up, yards, third down percentage, red zone, I can go on and on. Even though I was a quarterback, I'm a defensive-minded guy, so I have very high standards for defensive play. Saying that, though, you have seen a tremendous amount of growth. How we played UTSA in the second half, they did a really good job. We made really good adjustments. Talked to Jeff Traylor, and he was really impressed with the second half adjustments we made. So they're getting better. And I know that's an old message, and it probably is like watching paint dry hearing me say we're getting better. But we are a much better football team than we were 4 weeks ago. It didn't show all the time Saturday. But defensively especially, we're making big gains, and at some point we're going to see the fruit of the labor.
Trent, what are some of the improvements that you've seen from the defense? Sometimes it's not so obvious to the untrained.
I get it. It's not obvious. That's because it is a bottom line side of the ball, right? Like, you make all these improvements you want. If you're still giving up 41 points, then you're like, well, how does he say they're getting better? I think up front, okay, so you're not just talking about the veterans. Fairbanks and Fish have played at a high level all year long, but Desmond Little's becoming better each week. The young guys, Merriweather, Smalls, have played key roles for us. Kendall Johnson has gotten better as the year wore on, had his best game against USF. So the front's playing a lot better. I think linebacker-wise, the adjustment with Michael Moore playing a different position has been tremendous. He's played at a very, very high level this year. I think secondary, when we're taking the air out of the offense, we're playing at a better level, meaning tighter coverage. Our tight coverage has been really good. The safety rotation, I think, is, more guys are playing the safety nickel position, and their technique's getting better. Now, is it as consistent as it needs to be? No, but it's getting better week in and week out, and when you see that in practice continue to show up, you trust that over time it's going to start showing up more consistently in the games.
I guess what's the next step you'd like to see?
The production, like, that's just the obvious piece, is that the carryover from practice has to be production in games, and it's got to be consistent production. You can't have 12 good plays and then give up a 40-yarder that leads to points. You can't have back-to-back bad plays that lead to a touchdown drive. You got to, at some point defensively, come up with the big stops, the hard stops, the stops that are probably advantageous for the offense, but great defense finds a way to turn touchdowns into field goals. Ironically, and I knew it when I said it, I was sick to my stomach when I said it. I was asked for the key to the games, and I said I thought it was going to come down to red zone, offense, defense. And sure enough, if you boil this game down, if we would have held them to field goals and we had the chance to, we could have won that football game. And if we would have scored touchdowns instead of kicked field goals, it would have been a different game. So offensive, I know you're talking about defense, but it's the same thing. It's these critical moments when the other side of the ball has the advantage that good teams overtake that advantage. So on defense, I always look at the deep red, like, it looks like they're going to score a touchdown. Hey, they only got to go 8 yards. Well, great defenses hold them to a field goal. Offensively, there's that 3rd and 8 every game that you're like, man, if they get this, it's going to be a different game. If they don't, they're going to settle for a field goal or not score points. Well, we got to get those. So it's these critical moments in games that both Tulane and UTSA, that we've had great opportunities to win those opportunities that we haven't.
A lot of those critical downs, 3rd down, you see, you unfortunately get sacked a lot on those downs. As we saw, 3 of the 6 from UTSA were on 3rd down. Just what do you do, to kind of, alleviate that pressure? Because obviously a lot of teams are going to try to bring pressure on that down. Do you, take more shots downfield to kind of back up that defense?
Well, I think you want to. One thing we've done a good job of is limiting 3rd downs. In fact, we were one of the better teams in the country at limiting the amount of 3rd downs we had. So basically, that's getting 1st downs on 1st and 2nd down. So you have to have better early down success. When you're in those situations, you got to make sure you're being creative with not forcing the quarterback to hold on the ball too long. So finding quick, open, rhythm-type plays where you're not stretching your protection. And then there's plays in games where you just got to block them all up. And people always say the offensive line, and I get it. What we're seeing is that it's one of the offensive linemen taking turns. We're getting better. 4 of them will be handling their business, and then one takes their turn on getting beat. It's not the same guy every time, but we're sharing in the responsibility of breakdowns of plays and pass protection. So that's why it's one of the hardest positions in all sports, offensive line, because it takes all 5 of you doing an exceptional job to protect the quarterback, to give him time to throw the ball. So again, it's such a horrible thing to say. I feel Belichickian saying this, but they just got to all do their jobs better.
what are your early impressions of Memphis and with their quarterback? And where do you think he fits into a league that has some pretty good quarterbacks?
Yeah, this league's loaded with quarterbacks. That's what I was doing before I came in here, was studying their offense. Yeah, they're very talented. They've done a great job in recruiting. Their roster is very, very athletic, fast, long. So they've definitely identified certain traits in building their roster that shows up. The quarterback handles this offense very well. He has mastery of it. He's very accurate. He's similar to Jacob in the sense that, he has quick eyes. He gets the ball to the open guy fast. He's very accurate doing so. So I said this last week, it doesn't matter what their opponent's name is, it's going to be a challenge for us. And Memphis brings its own unique challenges because of their athleticism, and they're very well coached, and they play hard.
Coach, it's a very long season. It's a grind of a season too, but with their record, I guess what has been the biggest, or who's impressed you the most in the locker room with being that leader to keep the guys motivated and come to work each and every day?
Yeah, I think we've got a bunch of them. I agree with you. It's a long season. It's longer when you're 2-5. I'm energized. I'm really, really excited about the challenges. I was just asked by one of my mentors who was concerned with me, and I said, I am loving this. I love the challenges that college football brings. I love the building part of it. I love the daily, how do I say this? The pick yourself up by the bootstraps and make a choice to be positive and energetic and a problem solver instead of feeling sorry for yourself. I love all that, and I think we have players that are like that too. I'll point specifically to Skull. I think Jermaine's been a tremendous leader through this. I think Jacob's been a tremendous leader. I think Brady Wilson's been a tremendous leader. I think Nakia Eason's been a tremendous leader. There's others I'm leaving out, Fish. Guys that easily, because they're disappointed, it's their last year, they expected something different. All of us expected something different. All of us had higher expectations in this. But they've handled that disappointment, and instead of feeling sorry for themselves, they've used it as an opportunity to grow as players and as people. I sometimes think head coaches have a false reality of what their locker room is. So I'm not going to say we have this greatest locker room ever. I don't know that. But the evidence that I see by how they come to work, last night, for instance, I think we're in a really good place. There's a lot of reasons to duck your head between your tail, is that what the term is, or bury your head in the sand, or complain or whine, or everybody would have that opportunity, and I'm not seeing them do that, which is a real positive.
Trent, have you ever had a Memphis rib?
I have, actually. Man, I lived in Tennessee for 4 years.
I know you're kind of a foodie. Give me your culinary take on the difference between Birmingham and Memphis ribs.
Oh, you put me on the spot, Joe. Well, obviously, I'm bullish.
Okay, so Memphis ribs are kind of dry, and Birmingham ribs are not.
I would agree with that statement.
Which would you prefer?
I'd prefer Birmingham, obviously. I've made that very clear. I have no affinity towards Tennessee, Memphis, especially ribs. I had a lot of success as a high school coach in the Memphis area, beating those teams badly. So, and I ate their ribs after we beat them.
What did you think of the trophy when you saw it?
I love the trophy. 94 pounds. I had to lift that thing. Ted wheeled it out to practice one day, and I tried to lift that thing. I was able to do it, but it was not easy. I counted it as a workout that day, just lifting it. So I think it's super unique. I think it's awesome. I'm really excited about being part of this rivalry coming back and getting our players excited about it.
Saw some more kind of exciting plays on offense. See the pass from Terrell McDonald, tight end. Just how much more potential does this offense have, compared to, the mistakes it can make to kind of keep it from reaching that potential? You look at the 4 pre-snap penalties, at UTSA, just cleaning up those things. How much better can this offense get?
Yeah, the pre-snap stuff was disappointing. I was concerned late in the week. We actually, as good as a week we had of practice last week, that was the one thing we weren't as buttoned up on. We had more little things like that show up last week, which were bothersome, and then they showed up in the game. This offense, for it to be as explosive it needs to be efficient first, and those things hurt the efficiency of it. To speak to the unique plays we run, we just do a lot of stuff. We consider those normal football plays. We've run 130 different pass concepts this year. We've run 58 different run concepts. We've called 110 fastball plays that are all unique. We've run 144 formations. These are all things that help us be successful offensively, but none of that matters. Those are just numbers unless you handle the details. And when we're in an advantageous down and distance situation, which when I called the double pass it allows you to call the whole playbook. When you get behind the chains because you're making silly mistakes, there's only a handful of plays you can call. Like our ginormous playbook that has all this cool stuff in it literally gets limited to a sheet of paper, a 3x5 card. Because there's only so many things you can call in those situations. So the players have heard this. They know that. They want to call the cool stuff. They want the cool stuff called, I should say. But that's not doable unless we handle the details. We can't have pre-snap penalties, and we got to be more efficient on first down. I think that's the thing in this game that really hurt us was our inability to consistently be efficient on first down, to put ourselves in really good down and distance situations.
And having kind of a mind for some of those kind of creative plays, does that help on defensive? You look at the end of the first half, B.J. Mays is able to come up with that interception off what they were trying to run, or do you believe that's just more of a B.J. Mays great play because he was able to kind of come up, then drop back to get that?
Yeah, so I think there's two ways of looking at that, Evan. I think they don't run a lot of uniques. That's what I call them, as uniques, not gadgets, but uniques. When you don't run a lot of them and you try to run them, you typically make mistakes. When uniques are part of your DNA as an offense, they're no different than any other football play. So, that double pass that T-Mac threw, we probably repped 14 times last week. We probably repped it as much as inside zone. The reverse play we keep running to Buckholder, which people are going to be like, oh, when are they going to stop that? Well, we rep it a lot. We dress it up a lot of different ways. It's a base play. It's no different than handing off an inside run to us. So it's one of our philosophies offensively is that, your creative stuff, your unique stuff, when it becomes part of your DNA as an offense, you become more explosive and more consistent with those things. So I think that's the difference. I think I heard your question, right? It's like we don't look at them as risky plays any more than throwing a hitch 8 yards away is a risky play. I think teams that don't practice them a lot, they are risky because you're trusting somebody else to make a decision with the ball that hasn't made it a lot in practice.
Anything else? All right.
All right, thanks, guys.
Coach,
Yep. Yeah, please do.